This Liberty Sports Update is brought to you by Beacon Credit Union.
Again, I want to give God the glory, and again, another great opportunity that we have to play another football game and get improved. I was very pleased, really, on Sunday, the energy, the excitement of our coaching staff and our players to really come alert. They were passionate, they were focused, and ready to get better as a football team. That's what you got to have as far as our football team this coming week. I think it's also exciting to, we got an opportunity to go on the West Coast almost, as far as going almost halfway across the country to play 2 road games. That's a challenge, but that's exciting to let the people across the country kind of know what Liberty football is all about, and we're looking forward to that. New Mexico, I think head coach Bob Davie, I've interacted with him a little bit. He used to be a defensive coordinator at A&M. I was at Nebraska and all that. He's a head coach at Notre Dame, so I've had some opportunities to coach against him. I think he's done a fantastic job there. He took over a program, I think it was 3-37 or so, and in the last 2 years has done a really, really good job of getting his team ready to play and perform pretty well. The thing about his football team, start with the offensive side of the ball. Calvin McGee just took over as an offensive coordinator this year. So they got a little different scheme than what they had previous years. The thing that is thing about McGee is he was with Rich Rodriguez, the offensive coordinator with him all the years there as far as when he was at West Virginia. He was also at Arizona and Michigan. So I've had some familiarity with him. The big thing that he does is they run some option football. Their quarterbacks that usually can run, they usually can throw, and that's what they have here. They do have 2 quarterbacks that they have played. They're very talented. Again, don't know all the names, pronunciations per se. Number 4, their last name is Jones. Originally, he was at Tennessee, transferred to a junior college, and now he's there with them. He played this last ball game that they played there against New Mexico State. He's a dual threat. He'll run the ball there with some options. He'll also roll out the pass. 6'3", looks like he's pretty tall. Has good size, maybe 190, 95 pounds, 200 pounds. And he throws well on the run. And for one thing that I'm impressed with him, he can make the throws that you can on the run, on the move, bootleg, nakeds, and so on and so forth, the type of things that they do from the offensive perspective. The guy who started the regular season there, I'm going to say his first name is Tavaka, number 16 there. He's 6'1", 6'2", probably 200 pounds. He can do all the things, too. He can run. He can throw. He might be a little bit better on his accuracy than the number 4 quarterback, Jones. He can run, too. They run all types of power runs. They run the power options. They run all the different things with both quarterbacks. Again, we don't know which one they're going to play, but they do have the skills to do all the things they can do. They've been very successful offensively with the different things that they've done. They got good running backs. They have a 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver. They have a very good slot receiver that does a lot of good things there for them. So they've done some good things. Defensively, there are multiple fronts. They do multiple coverages. The defensive coordinator, I have worked with him at Nebraska. Kevin Cosgrove was there my last year there. I was at Nebraska, so I do know him a little bit in a deeper way than just someone as a friend. And so he has also a relative there, Coach Stam, as far as that goes, and so it's a connection there also with Coach Cosgrove. Coach Cosgrove has coached at a lot of different places. He's done a lot of different schemes. He's done a lot of different defenses. He's a little bit more of an odd front personnel-wise, but they will get into some even fronts, and that's why I say they got multiple fronts, different ways of doing things, multiple coverages. And I like something they do as far as some of their skilled people in the defensive backfield. So I think they're very, very talented in what they're trying to get accomplished as far as that goes. Special teams. Kind of thing that jumps out at me at them is the punt return there. I think they got 16, 17 yards per return. Their return guy does some good things there as far as what they do. I think they have a solid kicker. Does a good job there kicking the ball out of the end zone and been accurate. Their field goals. So they're very, very solid in their special teams there. They got a first-year guy who has handled their special teams this year. So there's been a few coaching changes from last year to this year as far as us having to have a little bit more study that we have to do as far as trying to look at those different things that they did previous years, but they also got different coordinators that we have to go research and do all those things in the summer and different things of that to prepare ourselves for this football team. So New Mexico's solid, and again, we got to play our best football game, and we got to just get better at at our craft, and what we need to do is to be more consistent. I'm really excited about us being more consistent as we go into this next ball game. Injury report there, Kentori Matthews, lower body, he's questionable. Fidel Obaifin, I should say, lower body, he's questionable. And then Kamani Donaldson, he has a lower body, and he's probable. I got three things that I think are keys to the win. I think one is we got to play extremely well on special teams. We got to definitely hope we can do nothing but go up as far as our special teams in all areas of our game as far as this last ball game to improve in that. We also, from a defensive side of the ball, we need to allow no more than 1 per 20 snaps of explosive plays, and that means by 20 yards of runs and then 25 yards on a pass. And so an example would be, in a sense, if we had 80 plays and they had 4 explosive plays, runs, and passes, then we can live with that as far as that goes. But anything over 4 out of 80 plays, then that's not acceptable. That's our approach as we're going into this ball game. And then I think from the offensive perspective, we need to average 4 yards per carry. And I think the biggest thing, too, is we need to make sure that our completion ratio is 62% or higher. If we're not anything higher than that, then I don't see us being as productive as I think we need to be as a football team and a program as we continue to do things. So those are the 3 keys I think going to this ball game are very, very important. Our guys are ready to work, and look forward to this ball game. Questions?
I guess to start it off, you talk about special teams being a key in this one. As you've evaluated your special teams from this past Saturday, I noticed that there's an or, I guess, with the kicking situation. Could you kind of elaborate on that and your punting situation as well?
Kicking situation there, we're going to have Parrott and going to be, probably the main guy there. Obviously looking at Stuart Ashley a little bit. We cannot do kicking the balls out of bounds. So we got to get that corrected. I think we will get that corrected. For us, the punting situation there, I think we just keep working with our guy there, Aiden Alves. I think he's a person who can do it. Again, everybody had one bad ball game. I'm going to look at it from that perspective, so there's no panic as far as in that scenario there. We're just going to keep working on it, continue to believe in him, and continue to improve in his craft, just like it's been a punter. So other areas as the special teams-wise, as far as the returner, I thought the return game and the kickoff there, I thought Damian King did a good job on his return. So there was some positive in that. But I think the biggest thing that we need to improve on is really more the kickoffs, the punt aspect of it, and I do expect us to do that.
Jimmy Fox wasn't listed on the injury report, but he was in street clothes for Saturday's game. What's his status?
He is redshirting this season.
Is Kentori Matthews kind of just a day-to-day thing at this point going forward?
Yeah, we're going to probably just check him out on Thursday, kind of see where he's at that point in time and see what he can do, what he's able to do. There's nothing structurally or anything issues from that point of view. And now just to kind of see how much he can handle, how much can he do, and then we have to make a decision whether we want to continue to rest him another week and all that. But I think later in the week we'll make a decision.
With their option game, I mean, how would you compare it to other option teams you played against, like an Army, and so forth? Obviously, it looks like they throw the ball more than them, but how much different is it, and how much more challenging has it been?
Well, they're going to line up similar to like we line up as far as our formations. They'll run their option plays out of that, so it won't be like an Army as far as what they do in their scheme. It's just in a different alignment. They run their option plays out of our base alignment that we do. They got running type quarterbacks. Not necessarily a true triple option. They run what I call a double option, is meaning they don't have a fullback dive. They actually have a quarterback keep, or they're going to pitch the football. And they do it all out of different formations and different looks and different personnel groupings. So it's a little bit different from the perspective from Army. But again, option football is option football. You just got to do it in different ways.
During the first 3 games of watching New Mexico film, it seems like when they run the RPOs, especially with Talua at quarterback, he hesitates at times. The offensive linemen get past the line of scrimmage and they get flagged for an eligible receiver downfield. If he does play, you want to try to mix up coverages and on those RPOs force them into those situations where they are making mental mistakes like that?
Well, we can't control their mental mistakes. Certain things, we're just trying to make sure our guys in the right place and trying to mix up their timing. I think that's always a key thing. And RPOs, the timing of things of that nature, trying to mix up the different looks. We all kind of know who they're reading in most cases, so you try to change those things up to make the quarterback hesitate on what his reads are and what he's trying to get accomplished. And so, again, we're just trying to get our guys in the right place and be at the right time. And they're talented guys, and I think our guys will be ready to play. Again, they run the option, but they're going to throw the ball a little bit more with it. And so it's a kind of interesting type of dynamics that they have, and I think that's why they've had some success.
All the turnovers that they've forced, I think a lot of them came in the New Mexico State game. I mean, are there any similarities to what you just saw with North Texas?
For scheme-wise, I guess it's a little bit similar in the more of a three-man front. They're a little bit more variety in their ways than they do in coverages, but they may play a little bit more man. Again, they had a bye week. So I expect something probably that we haven't seen before, not necessarily a whole big changes, but there'll be one or two things that we haven't seen yet that they're probably going to implement in a bye week there. So, again, we'll be prepared. We've seen all different things here in the first 3 weeks, and we'll be ready for whatever they throw at us.
Coach, with Contori hurt, Frankie Hickson got a lot more touches, a lot more playing time last week. What were your thoughts about his play from Saturday?
Frankie did a great job. That's what we expect out of any of our players. The next man up, be ready to play at a high level. I thought Frankie did a great job of that. Did a tremendous job, I thought, breaking tackles and continuing to make plays when he had to make them. Again, we feel like there's 2 or 3 of our guys in the running back position, whoever we may throw in there, can be very, very productive. And so it was great to see that. It kind of shows a good example of Coach Brown, Mike Brown there, what he's doing with our running backs. And we don't lose much when we play somebody. That's what you expected at every position. And so it was great to see that, and that helped us give a better chance to have an opportunity to be competitive in the game.
What do you want to see out of the run defense this week in terms of fitting gaps and everyone rounding to the ball, something that Juwan Wells and Jeremy Peters both said Saturday was lacking in the second half against North Texas?
Well, I think the defense, if you try to sit here and really evaluate it, probably anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes, probably played pretty well. The tackling is going to be one thing. Continue to do our responsibilities. I think we got to make sure we stay on top of that. Again, we'll continue to work on those things, continue to get more and more reps. Again, it's only played 3 football games, and I know we still making a few more mistakes than we like, but there's a lot of football ready to go, and I think our guys will be able to make those adjustments and become a better tackling football team and also a team that can actually rally to the football and hopefully can cause some turnovers.
Traveling over 1,700 miles this week, does the process, I guess, change a little bit as far as how you prepare these guys? Time zone changes, longer flight, different things. Is anything different with the travel situation this week?
Not necessarily anything. Again, kind of cognizant of it. Don't want to make it more bigger than what it is. I think the only thing that we may do on the back end is really shorten down as far as on Sunday. Come in a little bit later. Probably won't practice on the field as far as on Sunday. And then just probably go through our regular routine on the next week. But as far as the main thing about to get to talking about elevation, all those things, just keep that at a minimum. All we need to do is just continue to hydrate, no different than we prepare for any other type of game, particularly when you have a warm weather. So that's all we're going to talk about. Again, going over there, it's not going to be just you got gained 2 hours as far as they'll go. But we're going to stay on our body clock, if you want to use that phrase, of what we're on as an Eastern time.
You said Jimmy Fox is redshirting this year. Was that a process that you, him, Coach Roberts discussed about doing? And are there any other players who have been in the rotation this year who you might redshirt this year?
I mean, there's a handful of guys. As far as trying to see what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, I think it's just a game by game thing. I think after the 4 to 5 ball games, we're going to continue to evaluate, see where we're at, how many games they played in. Injuries always come to a play as far as that goes. So there's multiple things that go into effect as far as making decisions on who's going to redshirt, who might redshirt. It could go on all the way through the whole rest of the football season, just depending on how many games that they played in. So there are several guys that we've been talking to and going to talk to and continue to talk about as we go through this season. It's a unique season with the new rule.
You talked about being familiar with Bob Davie, and when you were at Nebraska, you played Notre Dame a couple times back-to-back years. You won both of those games. Outside of that, what do you remember about those 2 games and going up against them?
I think I remember just that we won, to be honest with you. Obviously, so many different games are gone through my head and don't remember those things of that nature. But again, I know he's a good person as far as what he's about. Does a great job of coaching and teaching young men. And it's great to have him in our business of college football and have him back as he used to be a commentator and all those things there. So he's a good football coach.
What do you remember most about Kevin Cosgrove? And Aaron Stam said he's been his coaching mentor. What does that mean to you? And what do you remember most about him in that one time in that 1 year you guys were together?
Hard worker, knows his football. Very personable, knows how to get his players to do things in the right way. And he loves the game of coaching. He loves to develop young men. So I got to know him quite a bit during that time period and always stayed in contact. Not necessarily we talk every week or nothing like that, but he's a solid person and good to have him as a friend.
Coach, after a game like last week that was so odd and, just with the delays and so forth, and then obviously the final score, what do you do to keep your team focused, confident? You said that you like the energy you saw on Sunday. What do you do to keep them, in it, I guess, so to speak, here early on in the season?
I'm not concerned even about that. Again, our guys came to work on Sunday. It's all on us. They're a good football team, University of North Texas, but we didn't play the capability that we were capable of. Particularly, I want to say, in that fourth quarter, that's probably the most disappointing. But again, got a little bit of frustrated. But again, our guys, we got to turn the page, got to move on. I think our coaches did a very good job and got a chance to chat with our guys. And again, they know that they got to improve. And I think the biggest thing is you got to be hungry. You got to be a little bit maybe mad at your performance, and that's what I kind of saw. But you got to keep it under control. You can't beat yourself up. And that's why I say I saw that on Sunday is, here's what we need to correct. It's all correctable. I think that's a key statement there is that we know it's all correctable. Then I think our guys are going to be energized and ready to go. Again, on the way trip, looking at it as a positive thing is you got an opportunity to improve. You got an opportunity to play against a football team that you don't really know about. That also brings some excitement when you got to really think about, study. You're not familiar with the team, so that automatically gives them a little better focus because we're not familiar with them. And so I like where we're at, and I'm really looking forward to today's practice.
Any positive takeaways from ODU's victory over Virginia Tech?
Any positive thing from my perspective? I guess we beat them and they won a football game. I guess other thing about it is you just never know what's going to happen week to week. And I think that's a positive thing is talking to our own players. You got to play every single week. Don't look at nobody's record. Don't look at what they may have done last week or what they have done, and even in yourself. So kind of using that approach, talking to our own players, you got to come play every week. It don't matter what nobody's record, and it's about us. It's not about anybody else. We're trying to improve every single week. Because if you improve every single week, then at the end of the season, you're playing at the level we want everybody to play at. But then if you take a little step back, it takes a little bit more time for you to get back to where you need to go. And so, again, that's about the only thing I talked about to our players about that is that's reality. That's a great example why you got to come play 4 quarters every single week.
What did Bajor Wilson do to earn the start this past week and then make his way out there and get more reps?
Didn't make as many mental mistakes, played physical, made plays. He's just more productive.